And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Miller's Mission Day 3, where we ask you once again to give a turkey, don't be a turkey. We've got our friends with the Boise Rescue Mission. We need over 5,000 turkeys to feed Treasure Valley families. We are here at the mothership, our home away from home, good old Nampa, the Nampa Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. We love this facility, and we have, the opportunity for you to go throughout the Treasure Valley this week only and use turkey vouchers. That's right, turkey vouchers, and hope starts with the meal. You can go to any Walmart, and for $15, you can feed Treasure Valley families. And we do want to thank our friends at KTSY Radio for directing people here. They're going to be out all over the place. And when you have a need this big, it transcends radio stations. It transcends media outlets, and we sure appreciate them. We appreciate you. Thanks to Bud from Middleton, Angela and Jim from Middleton that stopped by. So many people. Chris stopped by last night. I need to start writing everybody's names down. We've got Art, the retired nuclear physicist, with us this morning. He's either going to talk about the grand jury or Fukushima nuclear plant fallout. You never know what to expect here. Anyway, big props to our friend Ray Amaya for keeping us afloat. Chandler here at the remote broadcast center, our roving reporter George. But today, this show goes to the next level. We've got our friend Eric Eggers joining us, the author of Fraud, How the Left Plans to Steal the Next Election. And by the way, speaking of which, he's at the epicenter of the voter fraud allegations in Tallahassee, Florida. Eric, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. It's everything we talked about and then some, right? It's unfortunately just as I predicted, and it brings me no pleasure to come to you from Tallahassee, Florida, and tell you Florida elections are still bad.
Well, what the heck is happening in Florida? I love this, where the longer we go, the more votes we find. You're on the ground. You've written this book, Fraud. You're living this. You predicted this. Take us there, sir.
Okay, yeah. So basically, in the book, and I appreciate you having me on before to talk about it, but in the book, we have an entire chapter on Brenda Snipes, who's the supervisor of elections in Broward County. And we actually also talk about Palm Beach County, which are, unfortunately, for Floridians, the two counties that have had these issues with counting ballots. The supervisor of elections in Broward and Palm Beach County has already said, look, there's no way we're going to be able to meet this deadline and get this recount done on time. Brenda Snipes has said, who's in Broward County, said, no, we'll meet the deadline, but we know for a fact that we have ballots that will be blended in Broward County that will include both illegal and legal ballots, right? Because what happened is, as part of this process, they opened up these ballots and said, all right, we're putting these aside because they have the wrong signature or they're from illegal voters, and these ones were going to be good. And then at some point, someone said, oops, and we mixed them together. So we know for a fact that illegal votes will be counted in the 2018 Florida race for governor and for Senate. Unfortunately, I think the issues are going to be much larger than that, because in Broward County, we're talking about a woman who's got a history, as we discussed, that a history includes admitting to allowing illegal voters, including felons and non-citizens, to cast ballots in previous elections. In fact, she said, look, there's really not much we can do to stop it, especially in the run-up to these important elections, because that's when these voter drives and voter mobilization efforts occur, because they take advantage of the vulnerabilities that the left fights to make sure still exist. So she also got a track record of illegally destroying ballots and illegally opening ballots, and her office was opening them outside the presence of other canvassing board officials. And when the Florida GOP sued her, they said, hey, you're doing this illegally. And she goes, I guess I didn't know what the word canvassing meant. But she said that in open court. She's also got a track record of finding ballots. So these 83,000 ballots that have appeared since election night last week, that's not new, unfortunately. In 2012, a canvassing board official said that they went into the weekend being told there was about 100 ballots left to go, only to be told that on Monday, we have another 1,000 actually still to count. So this is the playbook for her. We've seen it before. We're seeing it play out in real time, and I know a lot of Floridians are just very concerned that we don't see a Senate seat or a governorship flip as a result of this fraudulent behavior.
Well, this has been going on for years. Tell us about the Tallahassee mayor that is the belle of the ball that George Soros has put so much money in. People are calling him the new Obama.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, Andrew Gillum is the mayor of Tallahassee. He's a very talented politician. I think, to be honest with you, it was quite surprising that he won the nomination because I think, quite honestly, people didn't pay much attention to him. There were 4 other candidates that were at one point or another tracking in the lead, and Andrew Gillum is a charismatic African-American young guy, and I think no one really wanted to alienate the African-American base of the Democratic Party by attacking him and bringing up issues like, unfortunately, Tallahassee's issues with crime. We have some significant issues with crime in the last few years under Mayor Gillum's leadership. And Andrew Gillum's also been involved in an FBI probe in Tallahassee. We've got quite a few issues in Tallahassee, unfortunately, and so. But those have been overlooked largely by the state media, and George Soros has been a consistent backer of Andrew Gillum. In fact, Andrew Gillum's other job, besides being an elected official since 2003, has been working for a nonprofit called People for the American Way, which is funded by George Soros. And he bragged about having a 15-year relationship with George Soros. So I think it's interesting confluence. Well, you've got this guy in Florida whose election is now sort of being contested, and ballots continue to be found that somehow increase his odds of being elected. And he's got a relationship with George Soros. And in the book, I talk about how George Soros is working with Tom Perez to try to steal elections. So it's quite bizarre. But I would say we're definitely, to be honest, I don't know that Andrew Gillum's going to be able to make up this gap. I think it's still about 30,000 votes right now. And so once they do a machine recount, it's highly unlikely that you'll see variance of that degree with a machine recount. But I think what we will see is that this will be the beginning of the launching pad for more from Andrew Gillum, and I think he's now just going to kind of play at the national level.
Eric Eggers joining us, the author of Fraud. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Now, you've been around, and it's been a while since we've had you on. You helped with the Clinton Chronicles. You've been doing research for quite some time, and you're still a young guy. How concerned are you about the future of the Republic when its status is normal, where we've got what's going on in Florida right now, we've got the folks in Georgia making all these crazy allegations, Eric, as you know, that undermine our belief in the process that, allows us to self-govern?
Well, I'm a young guy, maybe on my driver's license, but less so on my hairline, Kevin. So,
I can relate.
Yeah, so, I guess it depends on what we're using as our rubric. I'm concerned, right? Because I think, think about what we just talked about with Andrew Gillum and one of the reasons why his issues didn't surface in the Democratic primary. A lot of a question I've gotten quite often is, well, how is Brenda Snipes in Broward County? How has she been allowed to stay in her job? And unfortunately, I think one of the answers to that is, well, she's African-American, and no one really wants to be accused of being a racist. So, I think, look, Donald Trump's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think one thing people have responded positively towards him is his willingness to kind of take the slings and arrows of political correctness in the pursuit of making a larger point about, truth in America. And, I think we need to be willing to stand up and say, listen, I don't care what color skin you are. If you've got a 15-year track record of incompetence, then maybe you shouldn't be in charge of counting votes in the second most populous county in the state of Florida. And so I think that's reasonable. But to me, I'm concerned for this reason. If Brenda Snipes in Broward County and the people in Palm Beach County are having this much trouble counting votes, right? Just counting. How much trouble do you think they've had at preventing illegal votes from actually being cast? And in Palm Beach County, I have a section about an investigation by their newspaper, which is certainly not conservative. The Palm Beach Post is an excellent newspaper, but they've gone through and documented a few years ago an operation which involved several elected officials, and they found documented evidence of voter fraud. 22 affidavits signed by voters in which they said political operatives filled out absentee ballots on their behalf. And they presented that to the state attorney, and no charges were filed because those political campaigns were all run by African Americans that had Haitian lineage. And again, the state attorney was a Democrat and didn't want the political hit of charging key members of his constituency with voter fraud. So, that's really a key component in all this.
Eric, again, what do you make of Georgia? And I'm sorry if you cover that. I just didn't see, the allegations of racism by Stacey Abrams. She's clearly lost, but she continues to fight again and again. We've seen this everywhere else, and you're thinking to yourself, look, you lost, you had Oprah, let's move on.
Right. Yeah, I will give Georgia credit. I saw the recent lawsuit that they wanted to include ballots that where they had the birth date wasn't written on there, and the court order said, well, the birth date's not a key contributor for identifying the voter, so we're going to order that Gwinnett County counts those. And coming from a Florida, I say, hey, at least Gwinnett County was able to keep the illegal, potentially wrong votes separate from the legal votes, because that's something we struggle with here in Florida, apparently, in Broward County. But I mean, I think at this point it's pretty obvious. They're not even worried about the actual. It's not even close enough to change the outcome. They're just trying to get it close enough to get into a recount. And so I think, what does that say, right? When the strategy is, well, we know we're down by a large enough margin now, but man, if we can just get it to where our elected officials in charge of these elections can get their hands on the ballot, maybe we'll see some changes. And they use charges of racism to try to make that case. It's troubling.
Eric, once again, you can get your book, Fraud, anywhere. I think you've hit the jackpot, unfortunately. The timing of the book, we've had you on before it came out, when it came out now. I wish you were wrong, sir.
I wish I was wrong, too. And, yeah, I think books are still available in stores. But if anybody wants to see more articles about how voter fraud is occurring nationally and get a copy of the book, you can go to voterfraudbook.com.
Thank you, Eric. You take care of yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Kevin Miller in the morning here. We are live at the Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. Coming up, we'll hear from our friend John, and then more of our special insights. We'll hear from our friend Dusty about how the Boise Rescue Mission has changed his life. If you're just tuning in for the first time, on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio, we do this twice a year, where we ask you to give a turkey, don't be a turkey, at least in November. In the spring, we have our branding campaign for the Boise Rescue Mission. We need 5,000 turkeys. Won't you help us help our friends here in the Treasure Valley? Your temperature right now is 24 degrees. And like I said, again and again and again, when you get out, you get in the car, you start it up, you have gas in the car, you have food, you have all these things, my friend, and yet some people don't. Look, I've been there. We've all been there. That economic food uncertainty, right? Well, folks, this is the time to give back. BoiseRM.org. I put a post on my personal Facebook page. You can donate online. You can go to any Treasure Valley Walmart, a turkey voucher. In addition to that, you can stop by and see us. We were here last night I'm here permanently until Saturday at 6. But we have people coming by in the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock hour. And as long as you're coming, we're going to be here. By the way, our friend John, we actually have some turkeys in some of the coolers. I forgot about that, but thankfully the temperature is cool enough that the turkey should be okay. Give a turkey, don't be a turkey. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And don't forget, you can always reach us, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We are taking your phone calls if you would like to ask people to come by to donate, if you've donated in the past, if you've been a part of the magic of the Boise Rescue Mission. You don't just have to be here to speak. You can share your thoughts with us at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, we'll talk more about the election and this ridiculous lawsuit between CNN and the White House. A lot going on this morning. We so appreciate you. Kevin Miller with you here. Let's go to our friend Dusty, who really shares with us his life, his challenges, his struggles, and what the Boise Rescue Mission and the ministries there meant to him.
My name is Dusty, and I am a driver, and I work in the warehouse at the Boise Rescue Mission. Well, it was probably 2 years ago what brought me to the mission, and it was September, of 2 years ago, and I was pretty much in a park. I was crying. I remember being on the phone with my grandma, my aunt, and my cousin in a three-way call, and I was living in my storage unit. I couldn't hold a job. I was drinking every day. I had just been kicked out of a sober living house because I couldn't stay sober, and no one could really help me at that point. And I just remember crying in that park. I had nowhere else to go, and my family said, well, hey, look, there's a shelter that has a program in it that may be able to help you. And, at first I was hesitant. My pride got the best of me. I didn't really want to put myself into a homeless shelter, and I didn't want to really be a part of a program that, they'd mentioned God, and I believed in God, but not Jesus. And so that was kind of hard for me to commit to. Eventually I just broke down. I said, okay, let's do this. Inside the New Life program it is like a getaway from the outside craziness in the world. It is a place where they teach you discipleship and how to really reach out and help other people to get out of yourself. And it's a place to build a new beginning, a new foundation, and it's a good way to build structure around your life where you feel safe and comfortable about diving back into your problems and being healed, and also to be more of a leader and a person that's in the community that can help other people instead of just being a hindrance. To be given a new life, for me right now, it's like a flower kind of just starting to take bloom. I feel like my life is just beginning right now. And, God has blessed me with so many gifts and talents and traits, and I haven't really been able to use them. And now that's starting to come to fruition. Things are starting to happen where I'm able to be part of a worship team with my church. I can play the guitar and sing in front of a whole bunch of people. I've never been able to do that. And then, doing audio visual work with my church, being in a small group with my church, going on, different adventures with good, sober friends, and just being part of the community.
And there we have it, our friend Rusty. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time.
Eric Gebert.
And Kevin Miller in the morning here. And I don't know if we want to start this segment on the program, but we've got a few nominees for Dope of the Day. Now, look, we live in a crazy, politically incorrect world. And I understand sometimes people want to make a point. So we've got two stories from Tom Rigogetti here, and he seems to handle these things kind of crazy. But a history lesson gets a little too real in southern Missouri. Let's take a listen to this, and we'll get your reaction.
A history teacher at Poplar Bluff High School is apologizing for a lapse in judgment after a 9th grade student dressed up as a Ku Klux Klan member. He was playing the villain in a skit about voter suppression and a lesson about the 15th Amendment, which granted African Americans the right to vote. The district superintendent says the unnamed teacher didn't know until right before the skit that the student planned to wear a white robe. A split-second decision was made to allow the presentation to go forward. The teacher's been suspended indefinitely. No word if the student has been disciplined. Tom Rigotti, Fox News.
Well, there are unpleasant parts of our history. Should the teacher be suspended for portraying that? Are we going to start banning these unfortunate images from the history books? It's funny. I thought that it was some type of Halloween prank, but, again, is that worth a suspension? We'll get into that. Then, I don't know how you really defend this, but the person who snapped the controversial photo of Wisconsin high school students who apparently appeared to be giving the Nazi salute and has decided to tell his side of the story.
Pete Gust is the parent of one of the boys in the picture taken in the spring on the steps of the Sauk County Courthouse in Baraboo. Gust says he was simply asking the teens to wave goodbye to their parents before they headed to prom. He admits the optics aren't good. Gust maintains his camera merely caught the boys wave prematurely. But one student in the picture says his classmates intended to make the gesture as a joke. The photo went viral over the weekend, and now the school district says it's investigating. Tom Rigotti, Fox News.
So there we have it. One, perhaps an honest mistake. The other, what were they thinking? The dope of the day, brought to you by, the Kevin Miller Show. Exclusively heard on KIDO Talk Radio. We had a gentleman come by the other day and said, hey, you're doing a national show from Walmart. I said, no, sir. We're here in the Treasure Valley. We're not worried about the people in Milwaukee or wherever. We're worried about the people here in Nampa or Caldwell or anywhere within the Treasure Valley, and our friends that listen online anytime on the KIDO Talk Radio app, available at your App Store and Google Plus, and it's free. But no, we're not going to Milwaukee. We're not going anywhere else. It was just funny. It was quite a compliment and really a tribute to everybody else. So we've got Art here. He's just Art, are you listening or are you just sitting there on your iPad? Okay, Art, we'll get back to you. You know, here we have people that stop by, and I got Art, who we love. Art, he comes to all our events, and he's sitting there playing with his iPad. He's not even listening. And you think I have issues. What's that, Art? You'll start listening now. Oh, okay. Thank you. We're not talking about the Fukushima nuclear plant or atoms and microns and zedons. Then I guess we don't have your attention. We'd love your attention to help us with the Boise Rescue Mission. Miller's mission continues. We would love for you to make a difference. We're live at the Nampa Walmart. Stop by and see us. Please give. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And we are counting our blessings. Kevin Miller in the morning. It's 24 degrees in Nampa. We are here at our remote broadcast facility in the Nampa Walmart at Garrity and Franklin. Stop by and see us. Why don't you stop by this morning? Give a turkey. Do not be a turkey. More information at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Miller's Mission. Donate online anytime. BoiseRM.org. And if you were here, you could actually see Art and Chandler working away to make sure that, that we stay on the air and we stay warm.
We wish he would keep his mouth shut. California does not need him.
I get that all the time. However, that's Maxine Waters talking about the president. We'll get to her. But the food, the clothing, the shelter does not appear overnight. It appears because of your generous donations. Now, Chandler, you're going to kill me here. Is his microphone up? No, we're going to go to our friend John here in a minute, and we'll take your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, the White House is under fire, under siege, and about ready to get sued.
You've got to treat the White House and the office of the presidency with respect.
There we have it. The president responding to the lawsuit by Jim Acosta and CNN. We'll take your calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Do you back the news media or do you back the commander-in-chief? Our friend John joining us now from the Boise Rescue Mission. We always catch him at 7 Cares Day. He runs the warehouse. He's the one that processes all of your tax-deductible donations. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. And once again, thank you, Kevin, for your efforts here.
Oh, my pleasure.
I appreciate it, brother.
My pleasure. What would I be doing? I'd be in a warm studio hanging out going, what can we do to make a difference? Every day, the Boise Rescue Mission makes a difference. When you see and process the donations and see them, you process them in, you process them out, what's the impact that has when these go to real families right here in the Treasure Valley?
Well, the impact is it brings hope. It brings that opportunity to show love, and it brings that opportunity to give somebody hope that there's change, hope that they can continue to make it, and hope for the future.
Kind of like we hope that it gets warmer, but you're dealing with folks, and John, it can happen to anybody.
It can happen to us.
Right? Yeah. Where all of a sudden, boom, you lose your job, you wonder how you're going to pay your bills, and you're out. And it's very cold out today. It's going to get colder, and this is why we need the donations. Let's talk about making a difference. Why have you dedicated yourself to this?
Well, because I think it's about being a community, and that's one of the beautiful things about our valley. We have such a wonderful valley, but it's about being a community. And just like you said, there's this common misconception in the normie world, if you will, that, they're just this, they're just that, they're just this. All of us, each one of us, are just a couple steps away from being in that same position. That it is not, we're all in that role. We can all fall into a wrong decision or into a hard time. And when you lay down your humility and you are just thinking about the entire community and each one, and when we're loving on each other, and when we're following our scriptures, when we're following the one another's, that's when we're acting like how God intended.
So when you get these turkeys, how do you
Yeah.
process them? How do they get to Treasure Valley families?
Okay, so I'll give you an example this week. This week we have our Nampa banquet on Saturday. Right now we have 2,700 people registered for the banquet meals. We have about 800 people registered to get a turkey and a food box. So when your donations, when you supply that turkey, whether it's here at the Nampa Walmart or one of the other Walmarts, or you bring it to one of our shelters or the warehouse, it gets stored. Then we put it into trucks, and on Saturday we'll be giving out those with a team of volunteers. We'll get those turkeys and those food boxes to people in need.
Well, and that's really what it comes down to, people in need here in the Treasure Valley. The economy is recovering. John, you've been with the mission for many, many years. And when we have a rough economy, it's rough on the mission.
Right.
What's the need right now? What are you seeing, an increased need? Or
Yes, we are seeing an increased need. And I know, and this is not just our organization, it's statewide. I'm part of a couple different organizations and have connections throughout the state that it's statewide. Yes, the economy is doing better, but the need is still greater. There's this, about 15% of our population is food insecure. That's the official number. The unofficial number is higher. And it's because, of our rugged individualism and I don't need the government's help and I don't want this help. There are a lot of people out there who are food insecure.
And that seems to happen again and again. And, we'll have a headline, we'll have this. But what about the working poor?
That's it, the working poor. You may have a job, you may have a home, you may have 2 cars, but you may not know where your next meal is coming from. That is a real problem that we're facing, not only in this country, but in this state. That you have all this stuff, but you still don't know how you're going to feed your kids.
Our great friend John joining us here from the Boise Rescue Mission. What do you need?
We need prayer, first of all the time. We always need prayer. We need food stuff for food boxes. We are short on supplies for both the Thanksgiving and for Christmas banquets. We need food stuff like stuffing, canned fruit, canned vegetables, dessert, Jell-O, items like that we can put into those food boxes. We're not just going to give food boxes out at the banquets. We give food boxes out all year long, every month. And so we need items like that. We need hygiene items, men's hygiene, men and women's underwear. But it's food that we're really needing at this present moment, Kevin.
And that's where you come in. Help us help Treasure Valley families this holiday, this Christmas season. Finally, John, when you see the partnerships, I love watching you on 7 Cares. You're quarterbacking. You've got all the business community coming together, the faith-based community coming together. Channel 7 does just an incredible job. What goes on in your mind? I mean, this is what you guys do for a living.
Right.
But it's the Super Bowl of
giving.
It is.
I love that event. I love getting down there. Like you said, I have so much fun directing the traffic and ordering Maggie around and ordering, all of the Channel 7 people around when it comes to directing the traffic. I love seeing our community.
You love ordering them around.
I love ordering them around. That's right. I love seeing our community get together. And this, like you just said, this is where we have that opportunity for corporate, private donors and all of the organizations working together to help our community.
Right, make a difference.
Everybody's laying down their agenda. They're laying down all their political aspirations. They're laying down everything and living together as a community. And working.
And they're unloading that Tyson chicken.
Oh, yeah. It's everybody's working there, whether it's our Salvation Army, Idaho Food Bank. We're all just...
Yes.
We are busting our butts.
You got the kids, the high school kids.
Yeah, from Cole Community. I mean,
right.
The 7 Cares is a wonderful example of how a community can just get together, rally around, and work together. And if we did that all the time, all year long, oh my goodness, it'd be a beautiful thing.
We can dream.
We can dream.
Folks, why don't you donate today, BoiseRM.org, or stop by and see us now. Let me just say this. John, we have our friends at KTSY. They're going out throughout the Treasure Valley, but you have to admit we have a very unique group of contributors.
Yes,
distinguished from any group of listeners in the Treasure Valley. You've been here for many years. The incarnations when we've had the snow coming down, when we've taken over the parking lot with pallets of turkeys. Any thoughts on the characters of Miller's Mission.
I love the characters. The characters, it's the beauty of who we are as a people group.
Right.
And we all work together, and it's that kaleidoscope of humanity.
Yes. Emphasis on the kaleidoscope. John, anything else this morning?
No, I just challenged the Treasure Valley to just bring it on. Bring it on
Just
for Kevin, bring it on for us. Bring it on for our people.
We would
bring it on for the people of the Treasure Valley.
Exactly.
Show your humanity, show your love for God's creation.
All right, John, thank you. Coming up, we're going to hear from Dina, and we're going to hear from you at 580-5436. Love to get your thoughts, encouraging folks to stop by, number one. Number two, what do you make of CNN suing the president? 580-5436. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning here, Miller's Mission, and we continue to share stories of inspiration. Let's hear from Dina on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hi, my name is Dina, and I am a graduate of the New Life program. I just graduated, and when I started the program 17 months ago, I started it in California, and I was an alcoholic for over 20 years. And I went into a New Life program in California and was unable to stay. And God found a way for me to find another program, which was here in Boise. And He planted me here in this program. And when I got here, I was hopeless and broken and didn't feel like I was worth anything. And I did not have Jesus in my life. I didn't grow up with religion. I didn't have anybody in my family that knew Jesus. The Treasure Valley is such an awesome group of people. It was amazing how I was accepted into this program, and just the hearts of the people in the Treasure Valley is amazing. What they do for the Boise Rescue Mission and for just the women who are in the program, for us to be able to not work and just work on our addictions and our demons and have counseling and have recovery classes and work, and to just be able to find who we are and to have hope again. It's just amazing. I, was in a new community and I was accepted with open arms. I would just say thank you so much for giving me my life back, for giving me hope, and for allowing me to come to this community where I wasn't a part of it, and for letting me be a part of it, and just for having such big hearts. And just please keep the Boise Rescue Mission on their hearts for the future people who are coming to it.
Boy, another local person sharing with us her testimony, her story of transformation, of hope, of unconditional love. Folks, that's why we're here. Miller's Mission, 107.5 FM, 580 AM at the Nampa Walmart. And this is what we do each and every year, and we continue to cover the news stories. We continue to stir it up. But twice a year, in November and in May, we camp out here, if you're new to the area, to the Walmart, Garrity and Franklin. I live here thanks to our friends at Camping World Boise, thanks to Team Mazda Subaru, thanks to the Boise Rescue Mission. I'll be here until 6 o'clock. Now, people say, Kevin Miller, that's quite a sacrifice. Well, in comparison to the need, It pales in comparison. It's 24 degrees outside. 24 degrees. And, most of us, maybe we jump in the car. We don't wear a coat. We don't wear a jacket. Maybe you're like me and you have a lot of, built-in insulation. People call that, girth or what have you. But if you don't, you ever been outside, and I'm sure you have, where I'm just going to go outside for a minute and you're like, ouch, it hurts, it's so cold. What happens if you don't have that heated house? What happens if you don't have that blanket or the food or the shelter? Now, recently and timing's everything, my heater went out. And boy, that was humbling. Because you're so dependent on your heat and your air conditioning, everything else. And look, I want to thank our friends at Diamond Heating and Air Conditioning. They came out and they took care of me. And we'll be working on that for quite some time. But right now I have the means to do that. But imagine living in a home with no heat. That's who we're trying to help. Not around the world or across the country, right here in the Treasure Valley. More on Miller's Mission in a minute and how you can help. But first, let's get you to work safely and on time.
That was Eric Everett.
How you can help is stop by, as we just had some people donate some turkeys here at the Walmart. Give a turkey, don't be a turkey. And Art, you stopped by early this morning, and thank you for your donation.
You're welcome. Everybody needs help at some point in their life, and I think that if you're going to be a person that has compassion and sympathy, then you have to help your fellow man. It's just a mandatory event, or you're not a human being.
This is your first Miller's Mission.
No, it's my second.
Thanks for the correction.
Okay.
And speaking of which, you wanted to call out somebody to why they're not here right now.
Yeah, Tea Party Steve.
Tea Party Steve?
Yeah, combine both of them. Let them have a fight.
Liberal Steve and Tea Party Bob.
That's right.
You said you're looking for Tea Party Bob, though.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do when you see him?
I don't know, just have a conversation about the Constitution and the American grand jury and all the fraud going on down there in Florida.
Well, that's a great way to spend the day here.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Do you want to direct him right now and say, hey, Tea Party Bob, if you're listening, get down here?
Yeah, there you go, Tea Party. Go look up a certain section in your Code of Federal Regulations because that's where everything operates from.
Oh, that's very compelling. All right, more coming up next. Fox News on the radio and more of Art and the Constitution. It's